God told me to warn you. Give God 3 minutes and everything is going to change overnight. A quiet moment can change more than years of rushing ever could. Before you move on, let yourself stay here for just a little while, because this message may be reaching you at the exact moment your heart has been searching for words it could never quite explain. You may have smiled in front of others while carrying questions that no one could see. You may have continued walking even when your spirit felt tired. If that sounds familiar, then this moment is not asking anything difficult from you. It is simply inviting you to pause. Give God 3 sincere minutes, not because you are trying to earn something, but because sometimes the greatest changes begin when the noise finally becomes quiet enough for your heart to listen. Stay with this, because there is something important here that deserves your full attention. Life has a way of convincing you that everything depends on how fast you solve your problems, how perfectly you plan your future, or how strongly you hold everything together. Yet deep inside, you already know that some answers cannot be forced. There are seasons when nothing appears to move, even though something meaningful is growing beneath the surface. You begin wondering whether your prayers are being heard, whether your patience has meaning, or whether your hope has become too fragile to carry another day. But what if these silent moments have never been empty? What if every unseen step has been preparing your heart instead of delaying your life? Sometimes the greatest gift is not an instant solution. Sometimes it is becoming the person who is finally ready to recognize the beautiful things that have been quietly making their way towards you all along. Imagine what could happen if, for only 3 minutes, you stopped asking life to hurry and simply opened your heart without pretending to be stronger than you feel. You do not need impressive words. You do not need perfect faith. You only need honesty. Tell God what has been difficult to say out loud. Speak about the dreams you almost gave up on. Speak about the relationships you still carry in silence. Speak about the moments when you smiled while secretly hoping someone would notice you were exhausted. Those simple, honest moments often become the beginning of a deeper peace. They remind you that being heard is not measured by the length of your prayer, but by the openness of your heart. Don't miss what comes next, because the quiet work happening within you may already be changing the way you see everything around you. Perhaps this message found you because you have been expecting change to arrive from the outside, while something beautiful has been taking shape within you all along. Your story is not defined by the chapters that felt uncertain. It is being shaped by every choice to remain kind when bitterness seemed easier, by every morning you decided to keep believing even without clear evidence, and by every small act of hope that no one else ever noticed. Those moments matter more than you realize. They become the foundation for the next season of your life, one gentle step at a time, and this is only the beginning of what your heart needs to hear. There are moments when the heart understands something long before the mind can explain it. Perhaps that is where you are today. You have sensed that life is inviting you into a quieter place, one where you no longer have to chase every answer or carry every burden by yourself. The world often celebrates constant movement, yet the soul grows strongest in moments of stillness. When you choose to give God even a few undistracted minutes, you are not stepping away from your life. You are stepping closer to the peace that helps you live it with greater clarity. Stay with this, because what seems small today can become the beginning of a completely different perspective tomorrow. Think about how many times you have looked back and realized that the events which once confused you eventually revealed their purpose. At the time, they felt like closed doors, unanswered questions, or long seasons of waiting. Later, you saw how each experience quietly shaped your compassion, your patience, and your strength. The same may be happening now. Even if you cannot yet connect every piece of your journey, it does not mean the pieces are meaningless. Every sincere prayer, every quiet act of kindness, every moment you chose hope instead of giving up has become part of a story that is still unfolding. Growth often happens so gently that you only recognize it after you have already become a different person. When you spend those few quiet minutes with God, you may notice something unexpected. The circumstances around you might not instantly look different, but your heart begins to respond differently. The worries that once felt overwhelming no longer have the same control. The questions that kept circling through your thoughts begin to lose their urgency. A calm confidence slowly replaces restless uncertainty. This is not because every mystery has been solved, but because you are learning that peace does not always come from having every answer. It often comes from trusting that you are not walking through life alone. There is something important here, and it is easy to overlook if you are always rushing toward the next distraction. As you continue listening, allow yourself to believe that your life is not measured only by visible achievements or dramatic moments. Some of the most meaningful changes begin quietly, hidden beneath ordinary days that seem almost forgettable. A gentle conversation, a renewed sense of hope, a decision to forgive, or a simple prayer offered with honesty can reshape the direction of your heart in ways you may not recognize until much later. So keep your spirit open. Keep choosing faith over fear, gratitude over frustration, and hope over doubt. The path ahead does not require perfection. It only asks for a willing heart, and that willingness is already leading you towards something deeply meaningful. Sometimes the most meaningful invitation is not to do more, but to notice what has been quietly present all along. You have spent so much energy trying to understand where your journey is leading that you may have overlooked how much you have already changed. The person you were a year ago would not have carried today's challenges with the same grace, patience, or wisdom. Even if you still have questions, you are no longer standing in the same place emotionally or spiritually. That quiet transformation matters. It is evidence that every sincere moment you have shared with God has been shaping your heart in ways that cannot always be measured. Stay with this, because the next realization may become one you remember for a long time. There is a gentle strength that begins to grow when you stop measuring your life against the pace of everyone around you. Some people seem to reach their goals quickly, while others appear to find certainty without effort. Yet your journey has never been meant to look exactly like theirs. Your path carries its own purpose, its own lessons, and its own moments of unexpected beauty. The waiting you have experienced has not been empty. It has taught you how to appreciate what truly matters, how to recognize genuine peace instead of temporary excitement, and how to value quiet faith over constant reassurance. Those lessons are becoming part of the foundation for everything that comes next, even if you cannot yet see the full picture. Now imagine giving God those 3 minutes without asking for anything in return. No list of requests, no pressure to fix every unanswered question, only a sincere willingness to be present. In that stillness, something remarkable begins to happen within you. Gratitude quietly replaces restlessness. Hope gently rises where discouragement once lingered. Your thoughts become less crowded, and your heart becomes more open to simple moments of joy that may have gone unnoticed before. This kind of inner renewal rarely announces itself with dramatic signs. It arrives softly, one peaceful breath at a time, reminding you that lasting change often begins in places invisible to everyone except you and God. Don't miss what comes next, because this quiet shift is preparing your heart for an even deeper understanding. As this message continues, remember that you are not being asked to become someone completely different overnight. You are simply being invited to trust the work that has already begun within you. Every act of kindness you offered when no one was watching, every choice to remain hopeful during uncertain days, and every prayer whispered in silence has become part of a beautiful story that is still unfolding. Nothing meaningful has been wasted. Every chapter has carried purpose, even those that once felt confusing. And as you continue forward with an open heart, you may discover that the greatest change was never only about what happened around you. It was always about the quiet peace growing within you, preparing you to receive life with deeper faith, greater wisdom, and lasting joy. Every meaningful journey eventually arrives at a moment when the heart stops asking, "When will everything change?" and begins asking, "Who am I becoming through all of this?" That question opens a different kind of door. It shifts your attention away from constant expectations and toward quiet transformation. When you give God even a few undistracted minutes, you are creating space for that transformation to continue. You begin noticing that peace is no longer something you chase from one day to the next. Instead, it slowly becomes part of who you are. There is something important here that many people miss. The greatest blessings often begin as gentle changes within the heart before they are ever reflected in the circumstances around you. Think about the countless, ordinary moments that have quietly shaped your life. A kind word from someone when you least expected it. A sunrise that reminded you to keep going. A memory that suddenly made sense after months of confusion. A small answer arriving exactly when you were ready to understand it. None of those moments seemed extraordinary on their own, yet together they formed a path that carried you forward. God often works through these quiet reminders, inviting you to see that your life is held together by countless acts of grace that are easy to overlook when your mind is filled with worry. The more you notice them, the more your heart begins to recognize that hope has been walking beside you much longer than you realized. As you continue giving these few moments of stillness to God, allow yourself to release the pressure of having every detail figured out. You do not have to predict the future in order to walk confidently into it. You only need enough light for the next step. That is how faith often grows. It grows through ordinary mornings, sincere prayers, quiet gratitude, and the decision to trust even when life feels unfinished. Every time you choose peace over panic, compassion over resentment, and patience over frustration, you are becoming stronger in ways that cannot always be seen. Stay with this, because the most beautiful part of your journey may not be a single, life-changing event. It may be the steady confidence that begins to fill your heart as you learn to walk each day with greater trust. So before this part comes to an end, take one slow breath and remember that your value has never depended on how quickly life changes around you. Your worth has always been present, even during the days when you questioned yourself. The quiet time you spend with God is not about proving your faith. It is about allowing your heart to rest in the truth that you are loved, guided, and never forgotten. Hold on to that thought as we continue, because the final part will bring everything together and reveal why these simple 3 minutes can become the beginning of a life lived with deeper peace, clearer purpose, and a heart that is finally free to embrace each new day with hope.